If there's anyone who has a reason why these two should not be joined, speak now or forever hold your peace. Her hand resting on her slightly curved belly. Tunde is the father of this baby, she announced, and he promised to marry me. The bridal boutique smelled like roses and freshly steamed satin. Laughter echoed off the mirrors as Amara twirled slowly, the wedding gown wrapping her in soft elegance. "This is the one," she whispered, staring at her reflection. Her best friends, Nnenna and Tayo, clapped excitedly. "You look like a goddess," Nnenna said. "Tunde won't believe his eyes," Tayo snickered. "Let's just hope he shows up first." Amara rolled her eyes, her smile widening until it slipped. A sharp pain bloomed on her forehead. She scratched herself lightly against the corner of a mirror. A thin line of blood trickled down, landing in crimson drops onto the pure white gown. "Chineke," she muttered, grabbing tissue. But before she could wipe it, a frail old woman who had been watching from the corner appeared slowly. As she approached, she then spoke. Her voice trembled like a warning carried on the wind. "Nwata, if blood touches the cloth, tears follow." Amara froze. "Ma? Excuse me?" The woman only stared, her glassy eyes shining with something ancient. Then she turned and disappeared behind a rack of veils. Darkness swam in Amara's vision. She fainted. In her dream, the wedding had already begun. The aisle was long, lined with petals. A choir sang softly. She walked toward Tunde, radiant in her gown. But just as the priest asked him to speak his vows, Tunde turned and walked away. "Wait!" Amara cried out in the silence. "Why are you leaving me?" But he was already gone, vanishing into the shadows. Amara woke up in a hospital bed with Tunde at her side. He squeezed her hand. "You're okay. You fainted. You probably forgot to eat. I told you to rest, Amara." She smiled weakly. "I had the strangest dream." "Forget the dream," he said, pressing a kiss to her forehead. "Our real life begins in 3 days." The wedding day arrived with fanfare. The venue in Lekki was lavish, glittering chandeliers, white roses and expensive perfume clinging to the air. Guests whispered in admiration as Amara stepped into the room, her gown even more breathtaking than she had imagined. She smiled with grace, though her heart held echoes of unease. The priest began the vows. The crowd quieted, all eyes on the couple. Tunde looked handsome, confident, too confident. Then came the line. "If there's anyone who has a reason why these two should not be joined, speak now or forever hold your peace." A voice cut through the silence like a blade. "I have something to say." Gasps erupted, heads turned. There stood Lola, in a curve-hugging red gown that screamed war, her hand resting on her slightly curved belly. "Tunde is the father of this baby," she announced, and he promised to marry me. The crowd broke into chaos. Tunde's face drained of color. "Lola, what are you doing?" he hissed. "I'm claiming what's mine," she said, lifting her chin. "Don't act like you weren't in my bed 2 weeks ago." Amara's face went white. Her world blurred. The dream, the blood, the old woman's words, all of it. She turned to Tunde. "Is it true?" Tunde opened his mouth, but silence told her everything. Tears didn't fall, only fire burned in her chest. Nena whispered, "Let's get out of here." But Amara didn't move. Instead, she scanned the crowd, and her eyes locked on someone in the second row. Emeka, tall, dark-skinned, dressed in an expensive navy suit, calm as the sea. He had been invited by a distant cousin. Amara had noticed him before. Quiet, always watching. Something snapped in her. She faced the priest. You said anyone can speak if they have a reason. I also have one. Everyone fell silent. I refuse to be humiliated, she said. Her voice grew louder. Tunde, you chose your lie. I will choose my truth. She turned to Emeka. I don't know you well, but I know you're not a coward. The room gasped. She stepped forward. Will you marry me? The world held its breath. Emeka stood slowly, adjusted his cufflinks and walked to her. His voice was calm but firm. I will. 10 minutes later, before a stunned crowd, the priest stood blinking but recited the vows anew. Do you, Amara, want to take Emeka Obi to be your lawfully wedded husband? I do, she said clearly. Do you, Emeka Obi, take Amara to... I do, he replied without hesitation. As the guests whispered, cameras flashed and chaos brewed behind them. Amara and Emeka were declared husband and wife. After the ceremony, the newlyweds retreated to a private suite in the venue. Amara sat on the edge of the bed, still in her gown, shaking slightly. Emeka poured her a glass of water, then knelt before her. You were bold, he said, looking into her eyes. I was angry, she replied, still bold. He stood, slowly removing his jacket, then without warning, he lifted her bridal style and carried her to the bed. She gasped. What are you doing? You asked me to marry you, he said with a small smirk. Might as well act the part. Amara sat at the edge of the hotel bed, her breath shallow, her fingers trembling as they rested on the soft fabric of her gown. The sound of distant drums from the reception below echoed faintly in the room. A party meant for a wedding that had taken a wildly different turn. She had just married a man she barely knew, and now he was standing in front of her, removing his cufflinks with deliberate, silent precision. You should change, Emeka said, his voice low and even. You've been in that gown long enough. She blinked at him. You say that like this is just any ordinary day. He looked up at her with intense gaze, locking with hers. It is, for me. Amara's heart skipped. Do you do this often? Marry broken women at chaotic weddings? A flick of amusement tugged at his lips. No, just the ones bold enough to propose in front of 200 people. He stepped closer. She stood, instinctively stepping back until her spine touched the wall, her breath caught. Why did you say yes? She asked. He leaned in slightly, his hand braced on the wall beside her, not touching her but so close she could feel the heat of him. I'm a businessman. I don't say yes to things I haven't calculated. His voice dropped. But you were chaos, beautiful chaos, and I don't run from fire. Her lips parted, but no words came. She was caught, not just in his words, but in the way he looked at her, like she was a puzzle he wanted to spend time solving. And then he turned, walking away like nothing had happened. The dressing room is through there, he said, motioning toward a small door. I had something brought up for you. Still dazed, she stepped into the changing room. On the couch lay a soft silk emerald gown, stunning, expensive, and clearly picked by someone with taste. She ran her fingers over it. Who is this man? 10 minutes later, she stepped out, changed, calmer but still confused. Emeka had removed his jacket and tie. His white shirt was unbuttoned just enough to reveal a glimpse of his chest and sweet heavens above. Her eyes dropped unintentionally to the defined ridges of muscle beneath the shirt, the outline of 8 perfectly cut abs that flexed as he moved. A living sculpture carved with discipline and control. She looked away quickly, pretending not to notice, but he had. You're staring, he said flatly, sitting on a couch, legs casually spread like he owned the world. I wasn't, you were. She turned to the mirror to adjust her hair, hiding her blush. This is insane. But you're not alone in it. His words were simple, but they pierced her like a balm and a blade at once. Later that night, they sat on the balcony overlooking Lagos. The city is still alive, bright, wild. You never asked what I do, he said. Amara looked at him. What do you do? I own things, he replied. That's vague. Yeah, good. I like vague. She smiled despite herself. Real estate? He nodded. Hotels, properties, one or two companies in London and Dubai. She stared at him. So you're rich? He sipped his wine. I'm comfortable. You're mysterious. He leaned in again, close enough for his breath to brush her skin. And you're beautiful. Broken but beautiful. She froze. I'm not broken. He tilted his head. Then why did your voice shake at all time? She looked away. The silence between them was thick, heavy with unspoken tension. Then, as if moved by some unknown pull, he reached out, his fingers brushing the side of her face, just below the scar from the boutique floor. I remember when you fell, he murmured. You cried his name. Her heart slammed against her ribs. And yet, he added, you chose mine. She didn't move. Couldn't. You know nothing about me, she whispered. Not yet. But I have time, and you're not running away. He pulled back, stood, and walked to the bedroom door. I'll take the couch tonight, but you need space. But tomorrow, the real marriage begins. Meanwhile, in a rented apartment across town, Tunde was pacing the floor, his shirt half buttoned, his anger simmering beneath his breath. Lola lounged on the couch, scrolling her phone. She humiliated me, he muttered. She married someone else in front of your guest, Lola corrected. That's not humiliation. That is warfare. He turned sharply. Are you really pregnant? Lola froze. What kind of question is that? You came to my wedding. You destroyed it. I deserve the truth. She stood. Tunde, if you didn't want me, you should have said. But don't accuse me of lying. He stared at her belly, doubt growing. Back in Emeka's suite, Amara laid in bed, staring at the ceiling. Emeka's voice echoed in her mind. You chose mine. And she did. But who had she married? By morning, Lagos was already alive. Keke horns, morning markets, and the city's rhythm echoing through the walls of the luxury hotel suite. Amara sat on the edge of the bed staring at her ring, Emeka's ring. Her fingers brushed the smooth gold band. It fit perfectly like it had waited for her. Across the suite, Emeka emerged from the bathroom, bare-chested, towel slung low around his waist, water still glistening on his 8-packs. His skin gleamed in bronze in the morning light. Amara's breath caught. He looked like a man who had been scalded by time and war, calm on the surface but forged through fire. He noticed her staring again. I thought we agreed you wouldn't stare, she said coolly, reaching for a fresh shirt. I thought we agreed nothing. She snapped back, flustered. This whole thing is a whirlwind. He shrugged as he buttoned up. It's only whirlwind to the one still spinning. That shut her up. Later that afternoon, they sat in the rooftop lounge of Emeka's Ikoyi penthouse, sipping zobo infused with mint and lime. The skyline stretched before them like a painting. Amara broke the silence. Do you ever talk about your past? Do you? He replied without looking at her. I had my heart broken yesterday, she said. I watched you get your heart broken yesterday, he corrected, his voice low. You didn't cry. I did, just not where anyone could see. He finally looked at her. I respect that. She studied him. So no tragic ex, no haunting heartbreak, no dark buried secrets? Emeka smiled, but it wasn't warm. There are graves in my past, but I don't dig them up. That answer sent chills down her spine. Before she could reply, his phone buzzed. He checked it out. Something changed in his eyes. Business? She asked. An old debt, he said, standing. You're leaving? I'll be back before sunset. He walked past her, but not before adding, stay out of my office. He was gone before she could ask what that meant. Curiosity burned inside her. She waited 10 full minutes before slipping into the sleek hallway and pushing open the door to his home office. The room was spotless, minimalist, powerful, but one photo on his desk caught her eye. A much younger Emeka, standing beside a grave. The name was blurred by shadow, but the expression on his face, cold, sharp, wounded, was unmistakable. And behind him, another woman. Not Lola, but someone else. Someone with Amara's exact eyes. Meanwhile, in a dim-lit bar on the mainland, Tunde leaned against the counter, drink untouched. He stared at the tablet screen where Emeka's name blinked. Emeka Obi, Billionaire. Lagos real estate king, known to be private, very private. But Tunde had connections, a few calls, a few whispers, and something strange emerged. Emeka's record was too clean, like someone had scrubbed it. No family, no social footprints, just silence. That was a red flag. What are you hiding, Emeka? He muttered. Back at the penthouse, Amara was trying to process what she had seen when the door creaked open. She turned. Emeka was back. His shirt was stained with what looked like blood. Amara jumped up. Are you okay? He looked at the stain on face. It's not mine. Then whose? I told you not to go into my office. His tone wasn't angry. It was quiet, too quiet. It made her skin prickle. I saw the photo, she said. A long pause. Emeka stepped forward slowly like a lion circling. And I guess we start there, he said, voice low and later. That woman in the picture, she was my wife. She died in a car crash caused by someone trying to ruin my business. Amara froze. She looked like you. He added, softened now. That's why I noticed you at the wedding. At first, you were a ghost, then something else. She didn't know what to say. Emeka continued. I've been alone since then, not because I can't love again, but because I didn't trust myself too. And now, she asked, voice a whisper. He moved closer until their bodies nearly touched. Now, I'm wondering what happens when a man meets his ghost and she comes back to life. Then, without asking, he kissed her. Not soft, not testing. Deep, hungry, full of withheld longing. His arm slid to her waist, pulling her into him. She gasped against his lips as he pressed her against the wall, every inch of his powerful frame radiating heat and tension. Do you regret it? He asked between kisses. What? Marrying me. Amara looked into his eyes and whispered, not anymore. The grand ballroom of Lagos Marina Towers shimmered like a scene out of a billionaire fantasy. Dignitaries, celebrities, business moguls, and media swarmed in glittering gowns and sharp tuxedos. It was the Elite Foundation charity gala, and Amara had no idea she'll be attending until Emeka placed a package on top of the bed. I need a partner tonight, he said, and you're not staying home. She lifted the box only to find a designer dress in it, an emerald satin dress. She lifted it off the pack and her brows were arching. You know this scream scandal, right? Showing up with your impromptu wife after a ruined wedding. She smirked. Good. Let them choke on it. An hour later, the room stilled the moment Emeka and Amara stepped in. Flashbulbs popped. Heads turned. A reporter's voice whispered harshly. Isn't that the woman who got left at the altar? No, that's his wife now, the billionaire. Amara held her head high, her fingers tightly laced with Emeka's. You sure about this? She whispered. His response, he leaned down and whispered into her ear, voice like velvet thunder. Let them see what it looks like when a woman rises from ashes and sets fire to the whole damn room. They moved through the crowd like royalty, but then Tunde appeared, looking sharp in a charcoal tuxedo, jaw clenched, eyes burning with something darker than jealousy. He cut across the room. Amara, he said coolly, didn't expect to see you here with him. Emeka's hands slid from hers to her waist, possessive, subtle, dangerous. She belongs here more than you ever did. Emeka said, his tone casual but laced with steel. Tunde's smile tightened. You move fast? Emeka's eyes didn't blink. I'm not the one who brought drama to the altar. You lost her and I picked up what you dropped. Tunde turned to Amara. This is a mistake. You don't know this man. Amara stepped forward, shoulders square, voice clear. No, you don't know me. You knew the version of me that waited and hoped. This is the version that doesn't. Gasps echoed through the nearby crowd. Tunde looked stunned, but what stunned him more was when Emeka reached for Amara's hand, dipped her slightly and kissed her in front of everyone. Slow, intentional, leaving no room for doubt. Lola, standing across the room, snapped her champagne glass stem in half. That night, back in the penthouse, the mood shifted from fire to something deeper. Amara stood in front of the mirror, taking off her earrings, You didn't have to kiss me like that. I wanted to, Emeka replied, walking toward her. You did it to prove a point. I never kissed to prove, he said, stopping behind her. I kissed to claim. She turned, heart pounding. He gently ran his fingers down her arms. You weren't just a broken bride, Amara. You were a woman with fire in her spine, and tonight you burned everyone. Her lips parted, breath shaky. You talk like you've read me like a book. I don't read books, he whispered, brushing his lips against her collarbone. I write them. And then he kissed her again, but slower, more devouring. The kind of kiss that demanded everything. His hands lifted her effortlessly, carrying her bridal style again. This time straight to the bed, where he laid her down like she was the most precious thing in the world. No more talking, she teased. Breathless, he smirked. Only actions tonight. Meanwhile, Tunde sat in his car, sitting. He opened the manila folder his contact had just delivered. Inside, a photo of Emeka's first wife and the newspaper clipping of her mysterious death. Headline: Wife of billionaire hotel tycoon dies in suspicious accident. No charges filed. Under it, a question scribbled in red pen. What did Emeka really do? Tunde stared at the photo. His next move was clear. For 3 days, Lagos buzzed with one name on everyone's lips. Amara Nwosuobi. The woman who was jilted at the altar and married a billionaire 10 minutes later. The tabloids called her the Phoenix Bride. Some said she was a gold digger. Others said she was brilliant. But Emeka, he said nothing. He didn't have to. In the penthouse, Amara walked into the kitchen one evening to find Emeka shirtless again, sipping black coffee and reading a thick legal file. You know, you really need to stop walking around looking like a cover model for sins, she muttered, reaching for a mug. He smirked without looking up. Then stop looking. You're the one showing off 8 packs and flexing like a silent threat. He finally turned, gaze slow and dangerous. You think I'm a threat? She raised the brow. To peace of mind, absolutely. He stepped forward, one arm curling loosely around her waist, drawing her in with practiced ease. You haven't seen anything yet. Later that day, Lola struck. Again. What did Lola do this time? And why is Tunde still after Amara? Who the hell is Emeka and what is the secret he's hiding behind this calm demeanor? Find out in season 2 of this story. Thank you for watching. Please click the like button, subscribe, share, and also drop comments on what you think about this story.